Hi there, welcome to Talk Canicross. I'm Janetta George.
And I'm Gail Walker. We're here today to talk all things Canicross, the fun way to get fit with your dog. So we hope you'll join us, whether it's for training tips, dog talk, or just for fun and encouragement. This is Talk Canicross, brought to you by DogFit. And don't forget to hit subscribe and keep in touch with all things Canicross.
Hi there. We all know that keeping our dogs healthy and happy is key to enjoying Canicross. Whether you're training for events or heading out on regular runs together, it's really a key part of fitness. In this episode, we're joined by the team at Equine America, who developed a range of supplements and grooming products designed to support active dogs like ours. And we'll be chatting on how to spot when your dog might need that bit of extra support, tips for recovery after tough sessions, and how to keep your dog in great shape all year round, whatever their age or ability. I'm joined by Ashleigh from Equine America with your pup, who we can just see the
Yes, just see her falling asleep, bless her.
Yeah.
Busy morning running around.
So we're really interested to know more about these products, and I know likewise your audience as well, on the equestrian side. This might be the first time they've ever heard about Canicross and getting out running with your dog. So yeah, we're keen to hear more.
Yes, lovely to have you on, Ashleigh, and Cookie, of course.
Of course.
So the dream team. So I expect a lot of our listeners are thinking, okay, Equine America, isn't that horses? And why are you on here talking about, relevancy to Canicross? So I think just for a bit of background, just to help everybody understand a bit more, could you tell us, Ashleigh, a bit about Equine American, and then, the humble beginnings and what you're all about, and maybe how you then developed a canine specific brand and why this will be particularly pertinent to our Canicross customers who have obviously very active dogs. So it'd be good to hear a bit more about that.
Yes, absolutely. So Equine America has been we've been around for over 25 years now. And obviously we've been predominantly in the horse industry, and we specialize in supplements for horses. And it's been kind of really well known within the equine industry that our joint care supplements are the top of the range. And they are, really supported by and backed by so many real professional riders out there that are real athletes themselves. So it's kind of more of a natural step going into sort of the canine supplement industry as well. With the science and sort of the reputation that we've built up with the equine supplements, it just seemed a natural falling into that category. Myself, other colleagues, and the owners of the company, it's still a family run company. We all have dogs here, all different breeds. I've got Cookie the Dachshund, but we've also got Rottweilers, we've got Staffies, we've got all breeds of all shapes and sizes, and we're really passionate about supplements for animals, let alone our own dogs. So we use them ourselves. And we just want to make sure that we're getting the right formulations together to bring out the best in our dogs and make sure that no matter what breed, their sort of needs are being met by these supplements. So it just became a very natural progression, especially with working with athletes as well. We've got a human joint care range too. So it's one of those things that we know with Canicross, agility, working dog roles, anything like that, we know that they're under, a lot of impact and general wear and tear is going to happen. So it's something that came quite naturally to us. And we've got dogs of many different ages too. So having, athletes knowing and trusting our products, it just became a natural flow, really.
Yeah, I mean, I know Equine America products. I used to be a horse rider in a previous sporting life before I went into Canicross, and I think there are lots of things that take away from both sports. And also, having tried your products on my own dogs, especially with Coco, who's getting older now, and the kind of the joint supplements, it is really an interesting area. And I know that once people start Canicross and they're out there running with their dogs, they then start to think about the impact on the dog's joints, how they're doing. Obviously, that's a prime concern. So do you know what I know that obviously you do a joint supplement range. Perhaps you can sort of just chat about that, and also what signs owners might look for with their dogs to be thinking about extra supplements in their diets?
Yes, so extra supplements in diets and nutritionally, as we know, it's really important, especially when you are doing things like Canicross. You want the best of the best to make sure your dog is performing to their best abilities. And things you want to be looking out for is sort of, antioxidants, making sure there's joint support and sort of lubrication ingredients that are going to help ease those joints and make it easier for your dog to move. So there's lots of different elements to our range. We're quite lucky in that we do have loads of vets that work in the equine industry as well that understands these core elements. So we've got our Inflamex, which is something that helps naturally support the inflammation process for your dog. We all swear by it in the office. If there's anything going on, little limp or bit of stiffness, it's something we will add to our own dog's feed. And then we've got everyday things from chews that are supportive and have Boswellia extract in it, which has been known in the industry and beyond for years, and it's been something that is a natural process ingredient that helps support and lubricate those joints as well. So it's something that is really much well used with other products in the industry. So
I missed what you said about what product,
the ingredient is Boswellia extract.
Boswellia.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's a real fundamental natural ingredient we put in our products, and it's shown wonders within the equine industry and people swear by it. And it's quite, it's still quite unknown for general dog products at the moment. So it is something that's kind of ahead of the game. And we've got it in like everything. So our chews are senior dog chews, but they can be really, really beneficial for those really athletic dogs that are doing, all these high track trails and really working hard. So yes, we've got quite a wide range from joint care. And then we just launched some shampoos as well, which is really exciting and something that's quite different and new too. So it's been busy here for sure.
So how do you know? Say I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, right, you've got a massive range. Which one should I be taking for my dog? Because especially when you think about cost as well, or making sure the dog is only taking what it necessarily needs. And also, second part to this question is like, are there some that are good for prevention and some for cure?
Yes, so it's all naturally based products. So it's not veterinary medicinal products. So we do need to make that clear. So it is something that is supportive, and it supports the natural anti-inflammatory and natural processes. So it's one of those things that, because we've got all these different breeds within our own experience, we know that different dogs will need different things. So for example, with the chews, it is a senior dog chew, and that's what we've named it, but it's actually something that you can just add to your dog's meal as a sort of preventative form of delicious little treat, snack kind of thing that helps just with the everyday sort of motivation of, keeping them enthusiastic about their runs. Where we've got working dog powder, which is a little bit lower down on sort of the need for it. So not as much as your active dogs, but you're doing about, half an hour to an hour walk a day from general day to day. And you can always top that up with a little chew at the weekend when you are doing your Canicross. We've also got Omega oil, which I actually have Cookie on at the moment. It is good for the younger pup. She's not even a year yet, and she's already, I want to get ahead of the game with her joints and really help support those joints. Especially with Dachshunds, as we know, with their joint care, you need to be really on top of it. Yeah. If she has her Omega oil, mix it up with her food, she absolutely loves it. But it's just a little top up, just making sure she's getting those Omega Omega oils from 3, 6, and 9 is all included in it with flaxseed oil. And it's fantastic for her. That is the perfect thing for her. Where I've got used the Inflamex. I've got a British Bulldog as well. I've got quite the array of breeds myself. And he is a little bit older now, but he loves running around. And just to top up in one meal a day, I just give him a little bit of the Inflamex, just to make sure that he can keep the mobility and keep those joints nice and soft and supple, ready for bounding around all over the place.
And we do Canicross with both those breeds of dogs. So
yes, I definitely am very keen to sign up to one of your beginner courses. I'm a runner myself. I love running, but the thought of taking out even potentially this little one to get their focus and everything, I heard that your introductory courses are where to start.
Yeah, and have you got any, as a complete beginner, and obviously he's not old enough yet because the dogs need to be a year old. So what would be a you know, a question that you might have that even someone listening from your audience that has heard about Canicross but hasn't tried it?
So I was intrigued about what are some of the most common well-being concerns that people might come across within Canicross.
I think from a dog perspective, I mean, and the thing that we find with anyone that comes across starts Canicross is the overall well-being of their dog. They will put that far in front of themselves, and as a business as well at DogFit, we're making sure that the dog has a well-fitting harness,
Yes,
a Canicross harness, one that they can run in, and the dog looks happy. So that is always the primary concern. So from our side, it's making sure that if you've got the proper kit, your dog is of the right age, and you're following a fun, well-structured course, or you're with a dog fit trainer, then I think that until they start running and seeing how the dog is going, I think that it is that introduction into the sport that's done in a really good way. And people are always concerned about the well-being of their dogs. I know when I started the sport 15 years ago, all I wanted to know was that my dog was fine.
yes,
And
yeah.
I think with any introduction to any new sport, and I'm sure some of the riders and everything else are quite fit in a riding capacity, but also, and their dogs probably are out all day in the yards and they're running around. Canicross is a very different sport in that the dog mentally is being asked to do something, and it's asked to be doing something with the runner as well. So it's a gentle introduction into the sport is the best way, which is how all our horses run. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would add to that. I think beyond that, obviously the general welfare is always the first focus of getting the right equipment, as Janetta said. And then I think when people start to get more active, do Canicross more regularly, and they start entering races and they start building up their distance, I think then we do get a lot of questions about how much is too much, what am I doing the right amount of exercise, and then am I feeding them, giving them the right food and nutrition to support that increase in exercise. That definitely is another concern, and we've had guests on our podcast from experts to GB representatives and athletes that talk about how they give, what extra food they give, and how they make sure that they're taking in all the nutrients and all the goodness. So, and obviously you've talked about your products, and I think also it then comes down to the dog's age. So we also get people who have very young dogs, old enough to run, but they're really active and athletic. But we also get people who have a lot older dogs. And I think sometimes we do get that question is about, can I still run with my dog? My dog's, I don't know, 9, 10 years old. And obviously we would say every dog's different and you should always check with your vet if you're not sure. But, I'm curious to know, Ashleigh, are there any sort of telltale signs around a dog's joints and whether it's time to slow down, or what we can do to ease, make sure that they're comfortable so that they can have a continued exercise regime, a bit like humans. We want to go as long as we can comfortably and safely, most importantly.
Yes, absolutely. And it is one of those things that those early signs can be quite subtle. So even as a dog owner, those sort of things you want to be aware of. You want to be able to see it before it does get too far. So some of the things that is worth noting is stiffness is like one of the main common things that you'll see, that after resting, they'll be a bit stiff getting up, or not enjoying or a bit more reluctant about going up the stairs or jumping into the car and that kind of thing. And that's such a small little thing that they may not fancy it that day kind of thing, but the next day they're fine. So that's what I mean when it's subtle, and that's why we want to make sure that if there is any concerns, like you've advised, is to go and visit your vet if there's anything. Another thing could be like limping, favoring one leg over the other, or even like bunny hopping runs, so they're kind of bouncing around instead of actually using the full joints. And behavior can tell you a lot as well. As we know, especially with, Canicross and that kind of thing, we do it because, people want to do it because they love it, they want to stay fit, and they want to enjoy it with their dog. That's the whole point, is it's an enjoyable thing you do together. And if they suddenly a bit more irritable or a little bit grumpy and they just seem a little bit off, that could be potentially a sign as well. So they are so subtle. Dogs are hard workers. They'll go as far as they can if they're loving it, but looking out for those little signs of stiffness, maybe a bit of limping, or not as eager to get up and a bit reluctant to go and do their favorite things, that could be a start of something. So it's definitely keeping an eye on that. And like your previous people have said, those nutrients, and starting to look at your nutritional side of it to make sure they are performing their best and are staying enthusiastic for the runs and your trails. That kind of stuff is, definitely worth starting to look into if you're really ramping up and starting to do those big competitions.
Yeah,
I think that's us, isn't it? Getting out of being stiff.
I was just thinking, it sounds like me some mornings. But I do think a rest day as well. It's like that often comes up. People sort of say how much is too much. So I think incorporating rest days as well. You don't push dogs too much. Yeah,
a good rest, and we all need it. We all need a good rest. And we all need to have a lie down, and even good old soak in the bathtub can always help.
which actually brings us on to obviously the Canicross season has just started, which is great. The weather's cooler, the dogs are hot to trot, which is great, and obviously muddy conditions out on the trails. Apart from us all having a nice soak in the bath, I know that you've got this range of shampoos, but do the shampoos, are they, because obviously for skin conditions for dogs and making sure that their coat is well, tell us a little bit about your new range of shampoos.
Of course, absolutely. We're really excited about it. And as a dog owner and working with dogs all my life, it is something that I'm quite passionate about, is bath time. Sounds ridiculous, I know. But we've got this incredible Oats So Soothing shampoo, and this is really good. Oh, it's fantastic that it's so soft on the skin. So if they've got a little bit of irritability or they've been out running and they've got flecks of dirt and stuff in their skin that could be rubbing or whatever, you really want to wash that out and make sure they're not having any irritation, or like if their skin gets a bit flaky from being out in the cold or anything. Our Oats So Soothing shampoo is really gentle, it's hypoallergenic, and it's great for irritated skin. It will sort of cleanse and clean gently without stripping out those important oils to keep their coat ready for those different weathers and temperatures. And then we've got our Pink My Pooch, named shortly after our Pink My Pony, which we have in our Equine America range. And this is a real deep cleansing shampoo. It gets really in there, nice and deep, and will clean them so sparkly, but they also smell amazing.
The best sparkly dogs on the Canicross trail.
Yeah, exactly. And we all gleaming, running around, sparkling. But yeah, so the smell and everything, people have absolutely loved it. We've had really great.
I've used the Oats So Simple one. That's very, very, very. I know I've got older dogs, and actually conscious you're not bathing them too much. But there are times where, it's a really nice product.
And it's a great opportunity, as you probably know yourselves from, running around and going on these different terrains. It's a great chance to check them over, check their paws and make sure there's nothing there, or, nothing's too chapped or dry, and, using a paw balm and that kind of thing, but just checking over their joints while you're giving them a bath and a good massage, that kind of thing. You can see if there's any potential niggling little signs there that could be worth looking into more.
Yeah, absolutely.
They come in lots of different Scents. I'm trying to think what, so I could say flavors.
Flavors. Yes, the berry scent, but because our exo soothing is, you know, really good for sensitive skin, there's really not much fragrance to it, because it is so great for sensitive skin. Where we've also got a Groom and Go, which is like a foam that you just rub into the coat and then wipe down the excess, and that's got a lavender smell, and it's so pretty. But that's perfect between, you know,
is that like a dryer shampoo, or is that?
Yeah, it's basically like a dry shampoo for dogs. You know, foam it up, rub it in their skin, then wipe off the excess with a towel, and you just get this lovely scent. So between your deep cleans, you can have this to sort of just check them over, but also they smell really pretty.
Groom and Go, as you say.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Those in the track to hand out.
I was actually going to ask you, are there for our Canicrossers out there, you've mentioned obviously the shampoos, is there anything else sort of that they can think about for their dogs after a long run, and just to have them looking and feeling their best?
Yes, so also with, you know, with supplementation, it's really important to make sure that you're kind of giving them those building blocks, natural building blocks, to make sure their cartilage and everything is sort of working as it should, and ready for the next day as well, because you want to be able to take them for a walk still, because even a nice walk after such a big event and really hitting it hard is really good for their muscles and their joints. Just almost like a cool down really that we would have after a big run. And also I personally love our Inframex solution. I think it's fantastic for that. It's something that I would put in the evening meal, a little bit of a mix. You know, there's different measurements depending on your dog's size, not their age. And that is something that really helps their body naturally cause, you know, anti-inflammation. So you're kind of reducing that kind of potential stiffness or anything as well. And then working dog powder is something I would use every day, and then a little bit of a top up with the chews. Or the chews are really great if you are doing these really big races. Definitely get those chews on board, and it's something that you can either crumple up into their food, or if they love a snack, a good old Labrador will take it right out of your hand and be happy, and you know, it'll be one of those things they won't even notice that they're the goodness.
And these chews are organic and they're okay for their teeth, I presume.
Yes, so it's all natural ingredients as well. So it's got fantastic properties in them, really to help those, you know, the mobility and their joint comfort, importantly as well.
That sounds quite nice, the Inflamex, and we will put a list of these products in obviously on the notes in the podcast. But you know, are there any other questions from your side about Canicross?
Yeah, I was just wondering, from your perspective, what's one thing that makes a big difference to a dog's long-term Canicross well-being? Is that something owners might often overlook?
I think that starting the journey well. I mean, I've got a 13-year-old pointer who is you know, she started at 1 and she was still doing half marathons when she was 11. You know, she's obviously retired now, but I think that it's making sure that you are very you're looking at all those signs which we talked about earlier when the dog is running, and because once people start Canicross, and I don't think in our 10 years we've been running Dog Fit, I don't think we've ever introduced someone to the sport that hasn't enjoyed it. And once people start, they then are, you know, more aware about how their dogs are moving, and keen to make sure that your dogs have longevity in the sport by taking things slowly, making sure you're monitoring the well-being of the dogs and running in the good conditions. And I think that's something that might resonate with your riders as well, is that when you start Canicross with your dog, there is, even though you might already have a good relationship with your dog, it just builds up this special connection that a rider might have with a horse. Because you're doing a sport together, it's probably that the two are quite aligned in that you are doing something with an animal, and it absolutely builds the bond, and you get to know your dog even better because you're now doing a sport with your dog, and you're now seeing exactly how the dog is moving, running, making sure their well-being after the run as well. You know, because you're taking that dog home with you. You're not putting a horse in a field, are you? You're kind of like after you've untacked your dog, it's you've taken the kit off. It's making sure that the dog's well-being is a priority and the dog is happy. And yeah, as I said, it just increases that bond. And I think once people have started the sport, they are even more aware of how the dogs move and how they are. So yeah, anything you'd add to that, Gail?
No, I was
Yes.
going to say, I'm sorry. I was going to say,
Sorry.
I agree. You know, I think when we all first do Canicross, we're so enthusiastic and excited. And I sit time and time again. And I was guilty of that as well. I wanted to just run all the time. I wanted to go out as much as possible. And I would definitely say mix it up with some days where you do a bit less and walk, do some walks. Or if I know one of my dogs, Frank, is going to go out for a big run the next morning, he'll have a slightly easier day the day before. So that because I know he's going to be going out and doing a, I don't know, 2-hour run or something. So I think it is about thinking ahead and not getting caught up in the moment, because dogs want to, if you've got a naturally pulling dog that's very excitable, they're just going to want to run all the time. So my dog's definitely like that. So I would definitely say, yeah, just have mix it up a bit as well. And we talked about the equipment. We've got loads of help on our website. We've got a harness consultation form. We've got fantastic, as you touched upon, we've got fantastic trainers out there who run introductory classes who can help with equipment. And I would say, our customers are great actually, because we always give out the advice, but definitely make sure you have the right kit when you get started. Don't cut any corners, don't do any shortcuts, because that can actually affect a dog's health and well-being, because if they're not wearing the right equipment that's specially designed for Canicross to support them. Invest, it's not expensive. You can get our starter kit, it's cheaper than a pair of trainers these days, so definitely worth doing, and starting off as you mean to go on. But yeah, I'd say the right kit, and don't do too much too soon, and just build up gradually, as Janetta said.
I think that's really important as well. Like for riders that I know, we've got, our team actually, even in the office, are made up of grooms, and they take their dogs around with them around the yard all the time. And they're taught, with riding, not to overdo it the day before a big competition, not to do it every single day at this kind of level. And it goes very much hand in hand. And I find that, it's really interesting for us to hear that side of it. And, I think we're all just, love animals, and we want to work with them and bring out the best for our own selves, and most importantly for our pets and for the horses that we're with.
Yeah, all those riders that have their active dogs, I think it's something, it's an interesting sport to do, and have that special relationship with their dogs. So yeah, I mean, it's been really useful chatting with you today. And as I said, we're going to put a list of the products down below, and any questions that come over from our listeners, we will let you know. And yeah, thank you for joining us today. It's been great.
So much. I'm definitely going to be looking at joining one of these training classes for sure.
Excellent.
Great. Thank you, Ashleigh. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Talk Canicross. We really hope that you've enjoyed it. But don't forget to hit subscribe so we can keep you up to date and let you know when the next episode comes out. Happy canicrossing.